I didn't mean, and all these excuses, and I'm going to AA this week, right? I promise I'm taking care of this, only to get drunk in a few days and smack the wife around again, or the kids, okay? So if you're a mom and you're experiencing violence, it's not only about you. Your kid is at risk. Like in the murder-suicide family, don't think about just you. You have to take action now to save your kid and you. You may not love yourself as much and you'll be willing to be a punching bag for someone, but for goodness sake, don't let your kid go through that. And you're ruining your kid, because even though you're sending him to school and he's doing good on his grades, which I don't see how he can do good in his grades. Here's why. He goes home and watches his mom get punched in the mouth, and the next day he's going to do good on a test in history? No. He's going to be stressed out from the fighting at home, from the shouting and the throwing of the vases. He's not going to be doing good in school, because school requires a relaxed state of mind, not high stress. If you have a highly stressed out child, he never does good in school. And so you're ruining your kid by living like that, okay? I think you already know this, but I have to say it because sometimes we are in denial about how serious things are. But I'll tell you exactly how serious things are for you. You bought this course on bullies. You came to this video, bully spouses. You've watched it this long because I'm speaking the truth. You need to do something. But Alex, what do I do? How do I solve this bully problem? I'm glad you asked. Okay, the first thing you want to do, okay, you gotta move. You gotta move, okay? This is not safe. In none of the examples I've given you is this safe. We're not talking about the type of husband that says this: "Hey, honey, you didn't put the casserole away last night and now it's spoiled." That's not a bully. The bully is, "Hey, didn't I tell you to make my lunch? Where's my lunch?" I know a guy, and he says, he talking about his wife, and he goes, "She'll make me a sandwich if I tell her to." How disrespectful, right? That's a bully, right? And I told him, you know what I told him? I says, "Hey, if I want a sandwich, I'll just go to Subway," which means I'm perfectly capable of getting my own sandwich. I don't have to abuse my wife for lunch, man. These are poor, low-value human beings that bully this way, okay? So, okay, you gotta move. Figure out how you're gonna move, because if you can't move, at least temporarily, to get away from the abusive spouse, then you're trapped. So let's see if you're trapped. You should be able to move. Either you should have enough money to take you and possibly a kid to go live in a temporary housing, like a motel or a hotel, or a temporary lease, an Airbnb. You should be able to live somewhere temporarily, grandmother's house, okay, somewhere, as a trial separation. Why? He's being abusive, and you want it to end, and you want to get his attention, but most of all, you want to be safe. That's why you're doing this. You want you and your kid to be safe, so get out of the house, okay? Move. And you say, "Hey, I'm tired of the arguing, the fighting." You just send him a text. "I need time to be by myself. Little Mikey is with me, and you need to work on yourself. You need to go to anger management, Alcoholics Anonymous." Well, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Number 2, okay, in order to do this miracle thing where you move out, okay, you need an income, right? You have to have an income. You can't move if you don't have an income. So, like I said, we're trying to see if you're trapped already. You may be trapped. If you don't have an income or a good job skill, you're trapped. You're trapped. I mean, figure it out, man. You have to have income because when you move, you got to pay your bills. And how are you going to do that? So, you got to have an income, okay? You got to move. You got to have an income, okay? Now, step number 3, okay? You have to record the abuse, okay? You may be in a court later, you know. You may be filing police reports later after he knocks your teeth out. You may be hiring a lawyer, a divorce lawyer. You need evidence of abuse. What evidence do you need? Well, you use your cell phone. You use a digital camera. I highly recommend a hidden body camera. They sell them on Amazon for under $50. So it's easy to record silently. And the pin of the camera, it's as small as this. It's as small as this tip of this pen. So easy to hide anywhere. It takes video and audio, and you just turn it on with a button in your pocket, and the Bluetooth camera is recording everything. And now you're capturing him punching you in the face. You're capturing him smacking you and calling and threatening to kill you. And I want you to get a lot of evidence. Collect it over weeks, okay? If you can do this safely. Because 1 or 2 videos may not be enough to show a pattern. I want to see videos of your busted up face, broken. I want to see all the damage, the physical damage, the evidence, okay? And so that is important because when it does come time to approach law enforcement or the courts, all they respect is evidence. If you don't have it, it didn't happen, okay? So you have to record the abuse, okay? Step number 4, allies and homies, okay? You are not alone if you have allies and homies. Who are your allies, okay? Battered women's agencies. Now, remember Sarah, who had 5 children? Okay, it was hard for her to go to a battered women's agency with 5 children. Most places won't have room for that many children. That's a lot of children, okay? And so, 1 kid, 2 kid, but the more kids you have, the more trapped you become. So remember that, okay, when you practice safe sex, because if you're not self-sufficient and you have a lot of kids, you're basically trapping yourself, okay? So battered women's agencies are a great place for resources, for temporary shelter, for jobs, because they work with the community and they can help you find a job quickly, okay? Okay, they can help you with affordable daycare, with grants from the government that, for different types of help, okay? Food stamps, things like that, okay? So one of your strong allies is battered women's agencies. Okay, another ally is a divorce attorney. A divorce attorney is going to look at the videotapes of the abuse and help you decide whether to file a police report, to get a restraining order, or to file press charges for assault. Okay, so those are your 2 main allies, right? Okay, your 2 main homies. What's the difference between an ally and a homie? An ally is someone I pay money to help me in some way, like a lawyer or a battered women's agency. She's being paid by donations and grants to help me if I'm a battered woman, right? Okay, but allies don't fight with you and they don't have a blood oath to help you, right? So that's where family comes in. Now, do you have a mother, a father who loves you and can give you temporary shelter. And you and possibly your kid could go there and live safely as a trial separation. Because the trial separation is the only thing that's going to work for you. And what's going to happen is, one of two things is going to happen when you do a trial separation. Either you and your husband are going to, man, finally you can think and you're happy. Oh, I'm so happy that I'm happy that he's gone. Or you could be miserable without him, and he's going to be miserable without you, and you're going to come at each other in a spirit of this. We're going to set some ground rules. If I come back, I want you to promise and sign that you will never raise your hand to me, you will never yell at me, you will never call me stupid, you will never, you will never abuse me, right? So he remember, bullies only respect strength. So you're coming from a position of strength. You're saying, hey, husband, you've been breaking my nose and blacking my eye, and it ends today. I'm living with my mom until you do these things. You're going to go to AA. I want to see 10 meetings minimum to go to AA before I even consider coming back. You're going to go to anger management class and complete a course. And, you're going to set the terms that, and you're going to have an agreement signed that says, I promise, hand to God, that I will not physically beat you or yell at you or call you names. Okay? So, he's taking it seriously. If he doesn't go to those 10 AA meetings, 10's not a magic number. 10 is what I consider a reasonable effort. If my wife right now came up to me and said, Alex, I'm going to leave you, or you got to go to 10 meetings. I'm going to my first meeting right now because I love her and I don't want her to leave. And I'll do all 10 meetings in 10 days because I love her. But if I didn't love her, I'd say, I ain't going to no meetings. There's your answer. He's not willing to change. He's not willing to change. And if he's smacking you when he's drunk, he needs to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. There's not negotiable, okay? If he drinks, there's a high likelihood he's going to smack you again. So he has to stop drinking, okay? So that's just reality. He has to. If you don't agree, then nothing's going to change, okay? So this is important. Okay, so your family is your ally, is your homie, okay? Your family will give you a place to live. They'll support you, help you as you do your trial separation, right? Your friends are your homies too, because you might have a best friend who will make sure you're safe and check on you when you're living in a motel and come visit you, bring you food, help babysit when you go to work, things like that. So your good friends, man, those are homies, right? They become vital to have good friends like that, okay? Okay. What are your bully's weaknesses, okay? What are your bully's weaknesses? Okay. The guy that the husband of Sarah, right? He has 4 DUIs, right? So, but guess what? He still drives, right? So, that's a weakness, right? You can exploit that because, okay, for me, the primary weaknesses in a bully, a spouse bully, is this. Is he on probation? Okay. Does he have a substance abuse problem? And can you prove it? Okay. Like, can you prove he's addicted to heroin or alcohol? Okay. Does he have a mental health history? Like, is he on Thorazine, or is he on Dilaudid, or, Xanax, right? Those are signs that, these are his weaknesses. That's a definite weakness. If he's on psychiatric medication, okay, you should probably leave. Get in the car, go find somewhere to live. It's not safe because he's hitting you, okay? So, okay, those are his weakness. Mental health record, and last one is criminal record. If he has a history of other abuse to other spouses or girlfriends, if he's been to jail over violent acts, okay, then he has priors, and that's a weakness. You want to know his weaknesses in case you have to defend yourself and call the police and say, I know he's got priors. He beat the last 2 girls he dated. I know he's got priors. He has a divorce for a previous domestic violence. So, you want to know his weaknesses, okay? So, now, one thing really quickly, I want you to also examine what are your weaknesses, okay? Do you have job skills? Do you have income? Do you have a place to live besides your current living situation with the abuser? Is there a place you can go for temporary living? Okay, what are your weaknesses? Do you have a substance abuse problem? Do you have mental health or criminal record? Okay, what are your weaknesses? Okay, the trial separation is the only thing that's going to work in this situation. Nothing else is going to work. So you have to look at that, because if you separate at a trial separation, he's going to take it seriously. Whoa, she moved out. Okay, so you want me back? Then you have to do these things. AA, anger management, and sign a contract promising not to ever hit me or yell at me again. And if he's willing to do that, it means he loves you and he's willing to work on self-improvement. If he doesn't, there's your answer, okay? And the last thing, for the ones that are serious about this, I would also throw in relationship counseling. I'd say, as a last term, if he breaks any of these terms that he signed for, the next thing is, if you still love him and want to continue, go to relationship counseling, where every week you and him sit down and you can work on your relationship to improvement. Okay, good luck with this one.